Welcome to.
You know what I gotta do before anything? I gotta remake that sound so it doesn't just end like that. It's kind of like
it's okay. That's all right. We always act shocked.
Right.
Well, it is episode 41 of Monday Night Live Chat. To take care of a couple things at first, a big congratulations to WCR Nation for 350 episodes consistently every single week for 350 Fridays in a row. That'd be correct. Insane, right?
That's crazy. Yes.
Yeah.
I have not missed one.
Yeah, that's pretty amazing. Two, we're always going to say thank you to our sponsors now at the beginning of every podcast. And real quickly, all episodes are now available on. Can you give the details on that?
Yes, they're available now as a podcast also. So if you want to listen, they will be available. I'll share the link with Steve, who will then put it in the bottom of this video so you can find the audio if you'd like to listen.
Yes. I want to say thank you to Window Cleaning Resource. As you guys all know, we are both reps for Window Cleaning Resource, the best window cleaning equipment supplier in the world. And big thank you to our other sponsor, Jobber. Jobber is a CRM to manage your customers, your schedule, payments, all that good stuff. Now, on to the fun topic of it's wintertime. For some reason, every February after the holidays, people start getting bored at the beginning of February. Well, all kinds of trolls come out of their caves and start just talking blabberish all over the internet. You just see a bunch of weird content. So what I would like to know in the comments is who, and you can say whatever names you want. We're not going to make this a bash fest at all, but who is the biggest troll in window cleaning? I don't think it's us. I don't think it's us. If you're a part of the pro window cleaning group, you probably have some very similar names, but and maybe you're not part of the drama at all. And we're not part of the drama, but we see a lot of the drama that happens.
Man, and I'll tell you, there's a difference between a troll like Eddie Stewart, who just loves to see the world burn. It's great when he puts stuff up there, just like get people, but it's all like fun, harmless awesomeness of just like, and then people who don't know him come on and they're like, what? You tipped your son $1 bill? That's terrible. And it's like, come on. And then there's other thing of like trolls who are just like, they just want to be heard. So they say obscene, stupid things that just anger you.
Yep.
And it's like, you're just making stuff up and it just drives me. And people who are new cannot tell the difference between the two.
No, I remember when I first got into the Pro Window Cleaning group on Facebook, and I used to take things serious in there for like the first couple of years. And then I think Alex Labernini's reached out to me one day. He's like, dude, you just don't worry about these people. Like, it's just it's not worth your time, man. It's not worth your time. I used to get so fed up with even people on YouTube back in the day. Like, oh man, Poles and Blades is one of the biggest trolls. It still is to this day. That's my biggest troll in all of window cleaning.
Here's a question for you, since you have like, billions of views, but how many videos do you delete, or how many comments do you delete off of videos like in a month's time or a week's time, or like, is there like a number?
I would say that every single day I get extremely vulgar comments on my YouTube channel. I get sometimes in one day, I'll have one person comment on like over 100 videos, just saying how freaking bad everything I do is. Man, yeah, it just comes in waves. Like right now, if you active in social media, right now is when it starts picking up. So like Christmas time, you see it totally die down, the analytics. January is pretty dead as well. But then all of a sudden, like the last like 2 weeks, you start seeing it grow. And I've seen this now since 2016, 2017, when I really did it like regularly, that growth of like, you can see new people coming in, you can see a lot of new comments. But then, yeah, like there's a guy named Ronnie who creates like new accounts all the time. He's like always said horrible things on my channel. He said horrible things about my wife. He's just a horrible person. And he's just always like, he just creates new accounts and, it's just always rude. So
stupid people like that, they just literally want to be heard. Like, I get that everybody wants to be heard and it's kind of fun, but then sometimes people are just like, they're just awful.
Yeah.
Sometimes.
Yeah.
Not everybody. I like a good fun troll. I like when people, come behind the scenes and tell me how they're, something, or they're going to, whoop my blank or something like that. And then I meet them in real life and I'm like, hey, and they're like, oh, you're like taller than I thought.
Yep. Oh yeah. Well,
Yeah.
like the biggest trolls that we've seen, and he was a big troll in pro window cleaning, and what I don't even know was Jay Camaro. Jay Camaro in person, super
Ooh.
nice dude. We know who he is,
Sorry.
But in person, I've met him twice,
They
and
all are. They're
nothing
keyboard
to
cowboys.
say.
When it's behind a screen, they got big mouths, and then they meet you in real life, and then they're nice, and it's
But
like
it's like, why? Like, why even waste the time?
super
I don't,
weird.
I don't get it, and I'll
Super
never
weird.
understand. Yeah, but some of the trolls, people say fish. Fish is a troll. Fish. Would you label fish window cleaning as a troll? I don't think so.
No, I would say they get a lot of shit put on them, but
Yeah.
like it's not. I don't think that that's fair either because they're just like a franchise. People just like, oh, they came in here and they were cheap. They might have been, but anybody could be cheap. But yeah, I think they get more hate than they are trolls. I've never seen them actually troll anybody.
They have a very good structure to everything that they do. It's just, yes, like, there's a lot of people that start new there. So yeah, it's not going to be the most expensive window cleaning, but man, there's a lot of companies out there that too just want things clean. They don't want to pay the premium prices. Like, I think that's something that we come in contact with a lot, is like people always wanting to keep at this like $100 to $150 an hour of window cleaning. And it's okay to be at like that 75-ish these days, or even you might be a little bit lower. It's okay. It's not anything. That's great money when you think of it compared to other jobs you could have.
Yeah, I know you're not like a super fan of like the business side, but I always ask people when they come in and they're like, when they come to you and they go, okay, well, this other guy's so much cheaper, like I can't compete. And it's like, okay, so if that guy's at $75 and you're at $150, why would I hire you? And they're like, exactly. See, and it's like, whoa, 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 you ruined it already.
Yeah.
Like, if you don't know the answer to that, how are you going to tell your customer what's unique about you? Like, why? Absolutely, I could tell you. If he's 75 and I'm a 125, absolutely. And here's why I'm 125. You provide that value, right? So people get lost in the whole dollar thing too sometimes, and that's where you get like the people hating on fish because they're like, they're doing it so cheap. How can I compete?
Yep. Exactly. And I think one of the biggest things with that is that I always went against, because I did start selling against fish, especially when I went to 2020 window cleaning and we started building our different routes down in like Boulder and that area, was that I would go in and if they mentioned fish, the biggest thing that I always knew was I said, you'll always have somebody experienced here. You'll never have someone inexperienced. It's not a knock against them, but that's what you're going to get with them. And like the level of service is going to be a lot better. We don't have as many guys. The billing is quick and easy. I'm not going to make you sign an invoice when I leave. I'm going to go. You're going to get a QuickBooks. Like, it was just, there's a lot of different things that kind of had like the end of knowing what they did. But yeah, I totally agree.
Yeah. By the way, what's up to Katie? Window cleaning's here. Tyler Berry, Jameson Johnson, you're here. Let's go. Victor's here. Eric Cruz is here. Chris McDonald. By the way, if you're here, because it feels like spring here in North Carolina, it's like 72 degrees right now. Tell me what state you're in and city if you want, and tell me your temperature because we want to get views and comments so that more views. Yes. And then SteveO's YouTube channel can finally break the 100,000 mark and he can get one of those play buttons.
So close. We're so close. I just want to put the play button right here. It's right here. I'm just joking.
That would be pretty awesome.
Cool. But the funny thing is, I cannot change my address with YouTube from an address that I had 3 locations ago, and they will not let me update it. So I don't think I would ever even receive it. It would never happen.
That'd be hilarious. You'd be sitting there like, excuse me, did you get a play button? And they're like, yes. They're like,
Google is the hardest company to like get on the phone now, as far as you cannot call anybody. You used to be able to call like Google Ads. You can't call Google Ads anymore. Yeah, so
it's nuts.
It's frustrating.
By the way, Chase just said nice new room, and that is actually SteveO's master bathroom that he's in right now. His mechanics are there working on the elevator. We talked about that 2 weeks ago, and he's got to go into the master bathroom right now. So it's the marble that makes it echo, but he's got contractors coming in for that.
Yeah.
So.
Sorry. Yeah. I really wanted to, like, at the beginning of this episode, come up from the desk like this, just coming in my elevator.
That would have been hilarious. I would have loved that.
I thought about it.
By the way, I love the fact that
tired.
so many people took that last time. That was great.
Oh yeah,
people for days after were like talking about SteveO's elevator, and nobody knew what was going on.
I even got Instagram messages about it, text messages about it. Like, Yeah. And then Jacob
Okay.
Williams put a post on Pro Window Cleaning about it. It was
okay. If you're here right now, we were joking around because Steve got a new house, and it's got an elevator in it because the third floor is really hard to access from the underground parking structure. We're talking about SteveO's elevator. So if you're on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, any of those for the next couple of days, talk about SteveO's elevator, just to confuse everybody. You could be the new internet troll of the 1 clip, 2 clip. It would be all about your elevator.
Man, I feel like I'm poorer than ever right now because selling the other home, and then I've got freaking my realtor hitting me up to replace carpet at the same time building a fence. It's the worst thing. It's like
are you telling all of us you have 2 houses?
No, yes, but it's not fun.
Wow.
It's the worst thing in my life.
You probably got so much stuff that both houses are full, right? I mean, one's not just sitting there empty.
No, that place is completely empty. Check out the listing. If you guys want to buy it, you can buy it. You can move to Colorado. We can be best buds. You know, you can
don't post that address. Guarantee somebody will buy it. It'll be like, hey, weird thing, but a window cleaner bought that.
Yeah, it's really funny.
Camaro bought your house.
Oh, that'd be weird. We posted it like on our personal Facebooks, like trying to push it out there to like people that we knew in the area. And then I am friends with like a lot of people probably over the years. And then somebody commented, man, I feel like I know that house just because of how many YouTube videos like had up in the front. I'm like, oh man, is this going to be like a killer I don't know.
Creepy thing.
It is kind of creepy. I can always look back.
If you could live by any other window cleaner, who would it be?
Oh man, I would probably.
Who's I've always just wanted in your head.
I would always want to work with Luke. Luke and I would just get shit done. We would get stuff done. I always wanted to go out there. No
talking either. You guys would just be quiet. Just
there'd be no talking. Yep, we would just yep. We both listen to our music. It would be it. We just roll around all day, getting storefronts clean. It would just be the easiest work ever.
Nice.
Who would you? That's a great question, by the way. Who would you work with?
Man, who would I work with? I don't know. I really like Zane. I know he's like, around, but like every time I hang out with him, he's just like genuinely
this guy.
He's just like chill. I don't know.
Yeah. All right. Well,
I don't know.
Let's see. Let's see.
Plus, you got to get somebody younger than you so that you can get somebody to do all the hard work.
Yeah, it's true. Like basement window wells, lower windows. Yeah. You're reaching 59.
I forget how old I am. Yeah, dude, 59. I'm 2 weeks until I'm 59.
Wow.
I just forget. And I'm like looking at things and I'm like, oh yeah, I got like 15 years to retirement. And I'm like, oh wait, really? What am I doing?
Yep. What are you going to do?
Join AARP. That's what I'm going to do.
You got to do what you got to do, man. Oh, we have some questions here. Victor Guru asked a question. How do you clean hard water on the third floor windows on a commercial building with a pole? What technique or equipment are you using? Now, I have already told Victor my thoughts on this. What would you do? What would you do in the chat? Tell us in the chat.
Yes, please tell us your secrets and tips. By the way, comments are great. Just put as many comments in there as you can possibly do.
Just one letter at a time.
Victor, he's got the best questions, by the way. You notice like every week he's here, and every time he's got like legit questions.
Since episode one.
Thank you for having amazing questions, but that's tough. It's not super common to get hard water that high. But it all depends on what's below the window too. So if you can dunk a brush and get it up there, but wetting the siding and wetting the facade to kind of get up there, you can. But man, I would probably still lift it. If somebody was going to pay me to get water restoration up there, I'd lift it to it. So I'd just be nose to glass. Like I'm not going to half-heartedly do that when I'm charging, $50 a pane.
Yep.
For something that high, by the way, not like ground level. I wouldn't be $50 a pane, but.
Yeah. I mean,
what was your suggestion to him, by the way?
I can't remember. I just know that he asked me this through text.
You're like, oh yeah, I told him whatever I told him, it was right. It was the right.
It was really good. Victor, tell everybody I told you the right way to do it. No problem. Obviously, someone's asking it again. Maybe my way didn't work out.
That's tough though. The only way that I could see that even happening is if you have like an exposed aggregate facade that like it's a 6-story building or something, so that the water could hit somehow on.
Or you get that like stone runoff that just like happens like along the building. But then you can't really do it unless you're up there on a lift or roping. Like you can't do it. It's hard.
this is not a play for Glass Renew at all, but every time I go to shows and I hang out with Glass, Cody's like awesome. He's like one of the most awesomest guys ever. Gives the best hugs, by the way. But they're just like, the product is so, it like every time I see it, I've seen it for 10 years of these shows that we've done. It's just phenomenal to me. Like I get up there with that thing and just rip it. Like,
yeah,
it works so stinking well. Just rip it.
Yeah, frick yeah, heck yeah. All right, you'll teach. He's gonna come out there, Victor, and he's gonna teach you how to use this on that lift because he's gonna rip it. Wait and see. Another one from Victor Gruel. Fish called me and said I was ruining their business. Oh wow, that's great. That's awesome because I was charging too much. Do you know that is crazy? That is crazy.
You're getting noticed.
Fish actually called you.
That's good. Yeah.
Yeah. And for having too high prices. That's amazing. That is the best thing ever. Because we already talked about it, but that's their thing. Like I don't know why they'd be mad about that. They're going to get a bunch of those cheap customers. When I was at Fish, got the cheapest of customers. I remember a guy who I was there to clean his windows, and every single track of his single hung windows looked like the desert, like the cracked dirt, like going through it. And I got done and he said, he's like, oh, well, the reason we got our windows cleaned was to clean our tracks. I said, well, I'm here to clean the windows. That doesn't really make sense. Yeah, but we paid like the price to get our tracks cleaned. I said, no, we only do a wipe of the tracks and that's it. I'm leaving. And he gave me the check and I left. But I'll never forget it because that's Fish. It's just cheap. It's just the way it is.
That's by the way, you did an amazing job by explaining your value if they're like complaining, like, we can't compete with this guy. He's twice the price. Like, you have to be offering so much more. It's not that you're twice the price. It's off you're offering twice the value. And people go, it would be stupid for you to go buy Fish when you can get this guy for a couple bucks more. You can get better. Like, that's pretty amazing. That's a high five worthy right there.
I'm going to jump to a question from Tyler Berry because I think this is a really good question. What is the craziest story you have heard / experienced using stack ladders? Any crazy close calls? I'm going to tell you my close call of my first day out with stack ladders. I was in a family room and I wasn't doing it against the wall. I was just doing it straight up in the family room. And I got to 3, but I also wasn't very familiar with them at the time. And I put the top one on, I started bringing the other up and I started losing it. Like my forearms just were not conditioned to like that feel. And I went down like, here's the TV, the stack ladder came this close to smashing the TV. And the guy was in his office just watching me like that was bad. I've surfed a side of a home with stack ladders, like with the rocks, but I don't think that's any different from doing that with an extension ladder. Other than that, stack ladders are amazing.
Other than the 2 times I almost died there. Actually, I know any ladder is dangerous, but I don't think stacks are any more dangerous than anything else. Like if they're done right, and even moving them, if you have the pins in, like, yes, they bow differently, so like your brain feels it, but if you're not going crazy with them, I don't think they're like any more dangerous. I don't think.
No, they're definitely not more dangerous. And like, we're not supposed to ever say to go over 4 high, but there is many people that go way over 4. They do 6, 7, 8. Most I ever did, I think, was 5.5 also. So maybe 5.5. But that was during my days of like, you were listening, you didn't care about anything else.
I'm invincible. Yeah.
And that wasn't the truth. So but stack ladders, man, so good. Man, you have any close calls?
Not on a stack. I had a little giant one time where I told the guys they were on a metal roof, said don't use the ladder on the roof. They did, shot the roof, slipped off the ladder and shot the ladder off the roof onto a car. That was expensive. I was inside of an atrium one time and I was on a rug that I thought was rubber backed and was stupid. And all of a sudden, like I felt like a thing of pink and I looked down and it like, I heard the smack on the ground and I'm like, what the heck? It was we had ladder muffs on there and it was sliding down where the lip of it popped the ladder muff off. And I'm like, how did that? Oh, and then I realized what was going on. I'm like, oh. Gary was the guy that was with me. I'm like, Gary. Like he comes running in and I'm like, I don't care that I was yelling because I was like a few seconds away from sliding all the way out. The rug was all flapped over, but that was it. Everybody's got pucker times, but.
Yes. One of my worst pucker times is when I did a construction clean. I'll never forget it, back in the winter of 2014. And we got like 10 different apartment buildings, and it was at some point all we had was a 28 foot, and you just got to the bottom of the double hung on the top story, and then you just stood on the top rung to get the top window. And I don't even know why I did this stuff back then. Like, I highly questioned what my brain was thinking many, many years ago, to where now I would never do something like that.
Do you remember though, like when you're young, you do, like, everybody's like, oh, you think you're invincible when you're young. You just didn't like think you weren't. It's not that you thought, like, now you wake up and you're like, oh man, like my blanket on my bed must have been curled up because I'm stiff. And you're like, all right, now I forget. I'm old now. That's I'm gonna fall and hurt.
I ate ice cream last night. I'll be on the toilet all day. Anyways.
But on a serious note on ladders though, man, I've heard, obviously everybody was gonna tell you there's horror stories, but the stories I've heard, and people that I know, like Diego, you knew Diego's story, like that stuff's just like, I mean, it has to be respected for sure. But
yeah.
no one ever thinks that it's going to happen to them. You know, everybody's like, oh, that wouldn't. Of course not. Like, that's how accidents happen. Nobody's driving the car like, I'm going to smash into somebody today. Watch.
Yeah.
You're like, it happens as an accident. So it's a little sketchy.
And it's typically on the 3 foot to 4 foot step ladder stuff where people usually get hurt, because that's where you're the most careless. And I've seen some videos of that. I've even seen it in person. People get really, really hurt from that. So yeah, but be careful.
This is a morbid story. We'll move on after this, but I have a story of some friends of ours. Him and his wife rode motorcycle, and in Wisconsin's not a helmet state. And they're driving, they're almost back home, and they get into a turn lane that the asphalt's kind of got a little bit of a wave to it, you know, where the tracks are. And she kind of loses control of her bike and kind of like, you know, steps off of it and kind of like rolls, and happened to just catch the back of her head on the pole. This was at a stop sign. And that was it. She passed away from that. And that was like, you're like, oh, like the accidents you think are not like these horrific, oh man, I'm only going up on a step ladder. It's like, it's shocking. So just be careful is all.
Yep, exactly. Anyways, we digress. Into fun things. Oh, how often do you change your squeegee rubber? This is a question by John Hisking. So how often should I change my rubber? Oh man. So this is personal preference. Yeah, daily. Rubbers only cost you so minimal. If you do get some of the silicone blend rubbers, you can make those last for quite a bit longer. Sometimes they can be a little sticky. Sometimes that's pretty much the only downfall with them. Sometimes they can be a little bit sticky, but it really depends. Once it starts shredding on the ends, you start getting this trail across the glass. It just starts gliding really, really bad across the glass. Just change it out. It's no big deal. But you can always recycle your rubbers through your channels, which just saves you a lot of money on rubbers too.
Isn't the like industry standard? Weren't we just talking about like $100 an hour, and you're worried about a $3 rubber, like $1.50 because it lasts you 2 days? Like every time I have people ask that, they're like, oh, you only sell it in 12 packs? Can I get like only 2? That'll last me like a month. And I'm like, oh my gosh, man. Why do that?
It amazes me how, I have to be very careful how I say this. How many business owners would never ever discount their work, but how many want discounted items to the max?
It's amazing how many people are so blatant to like send us messages to and be like, hey, I'm just starting a window cleaning business. You just send me like everything free. Like I just want a water fed like stuff, and I'll wear your shirts. What? Oh,
I'll be honest with you.
I had a guy today.
Go ahead.
I was just gonna say I had a guy today, literally still talking to him because I didn't respond to him, but we were talking back and forth in these systems, and we have a sale on systems right now. Great. And he wants a system and a pole and the hose, Xero Pure and a Micro. And he says, I'll pay you $1,500 out the door. Okay, we're not a car dealer, and you're like $1,000 off of our sale price right now. So, but thanks, bro. Like, I don't know what else to say. Like, that's not how you're gonna go to the grocery store one time. They're like, all right, that's $214.12. You're like, I'll give you $180 cash. They're like, okay, what do you want to put back? I'm like, what? This isn't like a Spice Mart in Egypt or something.
It's great though. We get it. We understand. Yeah. You know, the world's full of discounts. It happens. What else could we have here? I do not know how to pronounce your name, but I'm gonna guess it. Two Wheel Mowgli. I hope this isn't one of these things that I'm going to hear about tomorrow that I just said something.
Did you hear what he
horribly
said?
racist.
Oh man. Say two wheel one more time.
To wheel. Could you guys give a small script that I can use to sell exterior windows that tried and tested? Small script. So I'm guessing this is that small script for that door knocking. Yeah.
Where are you?
We talked a lot about door knocking on here, and I'm thinking that's where this is kind of going as far as like a script. I do not like scripts. I'm not a script person. I don't think you are like, this is the one thing I think we do agree on. You're not a script person either, right?
I don't like door to door. I think it's
okay.
awful.
Yeah. So that's just going to throw that out. But honestly, I'm not a good person in the script. I really fill out the situation and I pretty much do the same thing every time. The main thing that I do is I never ask if, I'm always just when do we get you on the schedule? And that has always been my biggest thing. And I did that naturally from like a very young age with sales, like even working in like shoe stores and everything. And it's been my main thing with that kind of stuff that's always just made it work, is that like we're your only option. I just don't think of others as another option. I don't say, hey, well, if you get your other bids and blah, 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 and ours is good, call us. It's like, nope, when do you want to get on our schedule? That's been always my thing. I know it's super small, but I feel like it always works.
It is. If you ask a yes or no question, you get a yes or no answer. That's human nature. And the default, it's not 50-50 yes or no. The default to people is always no. Hey, can I give you a bid? They're like, no, not interested. It's their shutdown. Don't ask them a yes or no question. I'm not telling you to go door to door, but don't ask a yes or no question.
Yeah.
And know who you're talking to, right? So if you go up to somebody's house and they got a Lamborghini in the driveway, they like sports cars, talk about things like, you know, in that mindset, or they got golf clubs on their porch, or they got whatever, like understand who you're talking to. You know, if you pull up and the guy's got, you know, 4 dogs and signs and dog stuffy statues and things, and you're like, hey, yeah, so the cats love it. And they're like, we don't have, you're not talking to the right person.
This is a really good question from Tyler Berry again. I know you guys have a lot of experience in cleaning dealerships. Did you primarily trad or water fed pole? Was curious if dealerships ever complained about water fed pole being too much of an eyesore to customers. I always, on dealerships, we always cleaned them monthly, and we always did trad unless there was something super high up. There were even some dealerships that we did that could have probably used water fed pole, and for some reason we just didn't. I would say there is no right or wrong answer there. If you want to do water fed pole, I would do water fed pole. What I always found with dealerships was that it was best to, if you were going to do inside, was to go inside early in the morning, get in there, get all of the partitions and get all of the little sales offices done so that you're not in there when they're trying to sell. And then I usually completed the outside during the afternoon when it really, really didn't matter as far as that goes. And honestly, they're not worried about you at all when you go. These salesmen at car dealerships are so tunnel vision selling those cars and getting that thing done. Funnest thing about being in dealerships is how many salesmen you see go in and out, the rotation. I cleaned the same dealerships with Jim for the whole entire time I was with him. And it was just so funny to see all the people that rotated out of car sales, all the different managers, all the different ways they were trying to sell it. And like, it was very, very interesting. I always really enjoyed working in car dealerships. And car dealerships, if you're not doing them already, Tyler just got 3 dealerships. So huge congrats, because I think that's amazing to get, because a monthly account for dealerships, you can kind of float them. Like you've always talked about, you can kind of float that kind of stuff. Like it doesn't have to be on that day, but if you get a day where it's rainy, you could go do all their insides and then come back the next day, real quick day, and do the outsides and do a home at the end of the day. But man, you could do all the garage doors. You can do all the partitions. There's so much glass at dealerships. They're just some of the best accounts, and you can really just like settle in for a day and just clean.
Yeah, and the downside to the dealerships are they're usually that self-cleaning glass on the outside, so that just means they're hydrophobic. So if you are going to try to water feed it, you can do it pretty fast, but you need like a rinse bar just to not hate life. Yeah,
exactly. I totally agree. But yeah, I think you're really good either way of doing it. The one thing I always thought about with dealerships, and I think I've talked about this before, was if it would be better to clean the inside on a graveyard shift and be out. I think we lost a dealership once because of that, a huge dealership that I never understood. It's that one job that we lost 5 years ago, and it still is a pit in my stomach of I don't understand. And they would not tell us when we couldn't ask.
Their cousin Vinny started doing it. That's why.
Somebody.
Freaking Vinny. It was fish.
I even like years later would go on the pictures of the dealership on Google and just be like, can I see a window cleaner in the background?
Who's got
I
it
just don't
now?
understand. I don't understand how he lost this. Let's see here. Ryan Anderson, what's the best purification / DI tank system to get with the 40-foot ticket water fed pole? Hit up one of us and we can talk about that as far as that goes. It really depends on your area, but yeah, hit up one of us and we can talk about that. Information's in the description. There's just a lot more questions that go along with that than we can go through here, unless you want to say something.
No, I don't know. Ticket. I don't think Ticket's a great brand, but I do think Xero's a great brand and anywhere you go. But yeah, you're right. You got to find the one that just makes sense.
Yeah.
Don't be cheap.
Yep.
Like, especially over a couple $100, people are like, I'm going to go with the M9. I don't need the whole carbon fiber fancy thing. And it's like, dude, it's like a couple $100, man. Now you can add to it as carbon. Anyway.
Yeah. Antonio Howell has some great questions here. Is there a certain age you would stop going to second level homes? No. For me, no. Maybe like third story, fourth story, huge homes. I think I would stop at some point, but I think second story, first story, I would do those all day, my whole entire life, and be very, very happy.
I don't. I mean, as long as you can do it, like you feel good, and you're not like having some weird knees giving out or something. I think that's what just stops it. You know, like I don't think there's an age.
Yeah, you do see a lot of even window cleaners that have cleaned their whole lives in like 50s and 60s that, I mean, they start having knee replacements and different things done. It's kind of like, wow, like it's for sure hard on you. That's for sure.
By the way, if you're watching right now, I want to boost up these comments. Go ahead and tell me your guess for SteveO's age. We do this quite often, and it's always fun to see how people throw out 19 and 23 years old. And it's always fun to see.
I'm 19. This is, it's been great.
You're like, yeah, 7 years ago, I was working at this one place and nobody does the math.
Antonio Howell also asked, what's the best way to get dealerships? Man, I would tell you dealerships are hard to get. And I think most of the dealerships that we got were almost through residential on meeting the small business owners in residential. Yeah. And then we have a dealership because like so many dealerships are family owned. That was the way so many of them happened. If I was going to go in and try to get a dealership, I'm always going to try to get whoever the facilities manager is, and I'm going to try to work my way with them or whoever the owner is who makes the decision. But it's definitely a process.
It's a tough one too, because they are not worried about, like you said, they're not worried about anything else. Literally not anything. They want to make sure the cars are in and those cars get sold. Like they don't care. So trying to be like, hey, you got your windows done. They're like, I'm pretty sure we have somebody. Like they may not, or they do. They just don't care. It's very, very hard to get you to get them to actually to care at all.
Yeah.
That's what I've seen at least.
Yeah. The amount of dealerships that I've been into that have just extremely dirty windows is way higher than the amount of dealerships that I ever look around. I'm like, wow, this place is clean. That's a rarity, I think. I wanted to real quick jump to a question from Eric Cruz. Do you think houses are better money than businesses? I was talking to someone about this today, and let me know your opinion on it, is that at the beginning, I think a lot of people move to residential right away because they're the bigger tickets. But if you were to build up a commercial route or getting a bunch of mid-rise buildings that you do quarterly, biannually, annually, maybe you do the insides every 2 months. I think honestly that is the best path to do for the long term, as far as one, a residential list in the end, even after 10 years, has no significance for selling a business to me. As far as that, they have had you clean the windows because you've been cleaning the windows. They like you. So
it's a list of people who like window cleaning. That's it.
Yeah, exactly. But, and this is what I learned from Chris Lamborghini's, of that with their routes, they did do contracts, and they did contracts partially in the idea of, if we're ever going to sell this business, we have to have something in writing from these people. So if you ever are looking to scale and to sell, I do think contracts are good. They're not popular in that like route and stuff like that, but
it's like a cell phone thing.
Yeah, but it's a good idea to do it. But once you can get those businesses going, and you have, even for one window cleaner, a Monday through Friday 40-hour work week every week of businesses, and then you can start increasing that to 2 guys, that is consistent money that can like keep the core of a window cleaning business going year round in any area that's heavy during the winter, even better in areas like California, Florida. I mean, that's what I always shoot for. Now, in times like COVID, they get really hit hard on, and then like back where the market was really bad. Was that 08, 09?
Yeah, 08 was the hit.
Yep, that was like a super rough time. So you're going to get hit harder there, but in the long term, I think it's better. But it was just funny because I was talking to him about that today, that like he was already into that. I was like, it's so great because if you keep at that, you can build such a good core, and then you can drift off into residential and have someone do all of your businesses, and you have them all clean. It doesn't need to be as precise. It's just good.
By the way, Crystal Clear View Window LLC is wearing a WCR shirt in his little picture.
Oh,
I just
nice.
like see it popping up in the side, and I'm like, oh, that is a WCR shirt.
Sweet.
Anyway, cool to be the fanboy there. Thank you. By the way, KD said you were 39. Crystal Clear said you were 40 or 41. Okay. Eric Cruz said you were 75. Oh, 75 Windows.
Shoot.
Sorry, he was closest, but by the way, yeah, I mean, nobody's guessing, so I'm pretty sure they all pretty much know your age. It's all the same age, so it's no fun anymore.
You know, yeah.
You know what it is? Well, there you go. Well, no, you ruined it. No, you know what it is with like the three things: commercial, route, and houses. They have their place. Like, I genuinely don't understand companies that do just one thing. I know, like, don't be a master of or a jack of all trades, a master of none. But there's such a great like route fills your frequency, but houses fill your spring and fall, and commercial fill your pre-spring and fall and winter, and like. There's just such good things for all of it that you have to focus, like you said, on something and then kind of go out. Because if you focus on all of it, you get none of it. But once you get that, I don't think you should turn any of that away. I would really like in my future life to not clean inside windows when I hear people say that. But I still don't understand that. I don't understand why they're leaving the money on the table. But
yeah,
you know.
Yep, definitely. Real quickly, question from Tessa Cohen. Should I get a Tucker or a Pure Water Power hose reel? I would go for the Pure Water Power portable hose reel. Better price point. I like that reel better. I mean, nothing wrong with the Tucker reel. I like that one too, but I just feel like the Tucker reel is like, it's weighted weird. And they actually used to use the same reel that the PWP did before, and I liked it better. Yeah, so, and it has a weird break on it that has to be like loosened that a lot of people don't understand, and there's not a lot of content out there or even videos kind of showing it. So that's one of the biggest drawbacks, I think, to that reel kind of over the years. So yeah, it happens. It happens.
Here's a question for you.
Yeah, what?
I have a question that's not been asked, but we're talking real. On a typical standard flow system, like a Xero Pure, Tucker RODI, PWP, like standard flow, how much hose are you running in your 3As? Are you doing 50, 100, 150, or 250?
150 and 50 feet of pull hose.
That's it. There you go.
And I would say that if you ever want more flow, I would switch out your Xero pull hose and just switch all the high flow hose. It is double the volume at your brush. Every single person that has gotten that, I have not had one complaint, not one single complaint. Everyone's more talked about how do I turn the water volume down. I think that is actually
a problem too.
Yeah. But I think that is actually the biggest improvement to water fed of this past year. I know there were other hoses like it out there, but for Xero, that was like one of the biggest improvements is that really worked out really, really well. And I've heard nothing but just pure happiness when people have it.
Here's an interesting fact to anybody who's pure water cleaning in general, but if you have too much water, because I used to run like the hydrocard electric, like one person on that thing. And like when you have too much water, you create like a mist and then it splashes on everything and you get spots. And you're like, dude, how did I? And then people go, this thing doesn't work. No, that's why you have too much flow. You're getting splashes. You're too far from the glass. Like keep it on the glass. Like if your rinse bar, you can control flow because you're not splashing and you are not going to create spots because you're rinsing so much better. So anyway, that's just an interesting one. Everyone wants more and more flow. Right.
Yeah. And it can be too much where that I used to have a house like that. And when I wasn't understanding water fed too much, I would always think, oh man, this pressure is awesome. Like just blasting all this water off, and you go back, there were spots like every single time, all Frenchies, but it was just yeah, it was not good.
And then what's interesting is on our end, people go, "Hey, what can I get to make turn the water down?" It's like literally the tap of the house. Like you could just turn that down. You don't have to have it open all the way. And they're like, "No, I want like something to regulate it." Like that literally is regulating it. Just turn it down, man. It's already there. Every project you do has something you can dial in the flow.
Yeah, and we also have inline ball valves that you could do on a 5/16 hose, or you could do it on a 3/8 10mm hose that a lot of people now are using. Like Sean was just talking about in the comments of how you could turn it down like actually at the brush if you wanted to. Now it's not something where you'd want to take the pole down every time and like turn it up and down, but yeah.
Yeah. Here's my last question for things that I'm just interested in what you're like. Connecting two pieces of the pole hose, are you going with a plastic push fitting or a easy snap?
Plastic push fitting.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. You're a big fan of the easy snap.
I love the easy snap.
I just don't like it
because
it
restricts it.
Yeah, once you get it in, it's like that's it. With the push to fits, I can just it's just so easy to disconnect. If I don't want that much hosing, it's simple.
Yeah.
Now, I love the easy snaps when you want to just have like a small brush gooseneck configuration at the top of your pole, and you want to take that out and just have the pole bare.
Yeah.
It's really nice with that. That's the best configuration as far as that goes.
I like when everybody has any kind of quick connect and like, yeah, when you drag it around the house, those things are stupid. They pop off. It's because you have it backwards.
Yep.
Flip it around the other way, and then the ground is not going to pull the sleeve off. And they're like, no, I don't think I got the right-handed one. I got the left-handed one. It's like, that's not how it works.
No, that's not it. Victor Gurul, what's the difference between high flow hose and zero hose? Zero hose is 3/16 ID. High flow hose is a 1/4 ID.
A 16th of an inch, by the way. But it is like you said, it because it's adding a third more. It's increasing the volume by 33%. It increases the flow all the way more because you're putting more water out there. But the size, it doesn't sound like a lot until you think it's really 33%. It's a third more.
I wasn't sure about it until because I worked with it from June all the way through October or something like that. So I worked with it for like a long time before we actually ordered anything, just to make sure that it really made a change. I had other window cleaners. Zach might even be in here. Zach was a guy who was local, and he came on a job with me, and they used it, and they noticed how much more flow is coming out. Jobs that I would do with even a DI tank and low pressure, I would put that on, rinse bar was full. But the final test that I did, and it's actually a video that's on WCR and Xero's YouTube channel, the actual flow rate volume out of your brush or out of the hose at the top of the pole is double with that hose compared to the normal zero hose. Like it is double.
Yeah, it's the same like when people try to run like 300 feet of pole hose instead of running 3/8 line first, and then they switch and they're like, "Whoa, it gets so much more!" And it's like, well, yeah. There's flow and there's PSI. They're two different things. You have to kind of have them both.
Yeah, I love that hose. Yeah.
By the way, I was going to say the catch out, buying my first DI package soon. Really excited for the purchase. So congrats on that.
Yes.
By the way,
nice. Buy a Destroyer with your DI tank. Why not? Let's go for
it. Somebody just got something off of Facebook Marketplace or something. It was a hydro power with a Destroyer 30-foot
for $750. $750. That's amazing.
Cool.
Not used.
Can use a DI in your area. It doesn't matter. Throw that away, and you still got a steal.
Yeah, you still got a great pole for $700.
Oh, so good. Yeah,
it's the best. KD window cleaning. Hey, KD though also was a huge person in really pushing that a larger inner diameter hose really need to be out there. He was a huge fan of the Viper hose. I know you've talked about a lot about that, so much respect that you brought that up. You were part of the reasoning of why a lot of that happened too. So yes. Let's see here. Anything else you got, man?
Todd just said more flow equals more go. What would you rather have, flow or PSI?
Flow. I'm a huge fan of flow. Yep.
Yeah. Flow helps you rinse, and PSI helps you not swear. Like if it's coming out like an old man going to the bathroom, that's PSI. Like that is what drives me bonkers, because I'm like, oh my gosh, like, oh, this is gonna take forever. Even though it's just in my head, it's like, you ever try to like hold your brush like this close because it's not coming out, and your like arms hurt and.
Yep. Oh yeah. Nuts. I used to remember the old Tucker, Brat or whatever piece of crap poles that were so heavy. and then just the white nylon brush at the top. And they had pretty large jets in them, and the water just kind of droop out at like 4 stories. And you just like lean it on the glass and just let it cascade across. You're like, well, I hope that looks good. On to the next one.
Fingers crossed. This is the reason why people go, this doesn't work. Because, you know, it can be done wrong too.
Yeah, it can be done very, very wrong. Yeah, it happens. Oh man. Let's see.
If you're here, I want to know one more thing in Pure Water. I'm going to ask you, Steve, but tell me your favorite brush. It doesn't have to be brand, but I want to know hybrid or boar's hair. Which one is your like go-to brush? Because I feel like the change is happening to more boar's hair. Yeah. Like everybody was all on hybrids, and now it just feels like everybody's like, oh, I got to get a boar's hair. Oh, I got to get a boar's hair. And it feels like we're doing so many more boar's hair brushes than ever before.
I'm a huge proponent of boar hair. Man, boar hair to me is the best thing in the best component for agitation than anything else. It's very hard for me to go and try like any of the pad holders or anything because boar hair is what truly made me believe in water fed pole for residential. I didn't love it as much with other brushes, but once I had boar hair, I could do jobs that were 10, 15 years not cleaned, and I felt 100% confident with it. And then, I mean, now, and I know, you know, we're reps for WCR. So, I mean, the Xero brushes, though, are an amazing price point for getting boar hair. Boar hair,
it's usually good grade boar's hair. It's great. It's top grade. There's crap grades out there.
Yeah, exactly. And then but the boar hair, it's gonna wear out in about 6 to 9 months, especially if you're full time. I've seen people wear them out faster, but that might be due to that they're just using a ton of pressure and trying to put really extra weight on the pole. You really don't need to do that with boar hair. You can just let the weight of the pole glide it. You have to, you know, pull it at some points, but man, it just does the job. It's my favorite thing.
Boar's hair is taking the win right now, 3-1 as of right now. So it really, really makes sense. Yeah. The one thing that I have to say that people aren't used to is like the bristles falling out. And they're like, oh man, I got to like get it off. No, just when it dries, they go away. And they're like, well, it wedges inside the frames. And it's like, well, that's what's pulling it out, you know, with nylon around that. That's why that's there, is to kind of protect that. Like that's a little thing when it comes to just scrubbing half the time, you know?
Yep.
I'm a boar's hair
fan. Definitely. But yeah, the ends will wear down. It will kind of like slope off at the sides. And then I just always got a new boar hair brush like every season. That's it.
Yeah. Why not? Again, I like, what is a board? What is the Xero boar's hair brush is now $99. Like, what is that? Oh, we just said that that's an hour of your work. You're using it for 6 months. I mean, I get it that everybody's trying to like not just waste money, but I also like sometimes people are like, yeah, I use all nylon because they last longer. It's like, yeah, but you got to scrub 4 times as long, man. Always got to scrub.
And like, yes, you could rinse on the glass with nylon, which is super, super nice. But, you know, and boar hair does get dirty, but it's just, yeah, man, just the job. I just
rinse bar if you don't like that.
Yeah. I have not had a job like in 6 or 7 years where I've ever had to touch up anything after boar hair.
Yeah.
I mean, that's very tried and true. That's how I feel about it. Yeah. I know I really pushed boar hair when I got into water fed pole, and I made a lot of videos on it for a long time. But I've had also veterans tell me I'm completely freaking wrong, of course, in pro window cleaning. Back to the trolls of window cleaning that told me that I don't know anything what I'm talking about. And boar hair.
Full circle. You're a pro at this.
You're a pro at this. Like a comedian. I just route back at the very end and do it.
Here's a question for you. Because, you know, we still got some time left. People are still commenting on the boards here, nylon hybrid dilemma.
What happened there?
Rinse bars. Tell me your thoughts on rinse bars. On something else that I saw you talking about, there was a little bit of agree to disagree thing with rinse bars. Tell me your thoughts on rinse bars.
Rinse bars, yes, I get it. They were designed to leave the brush on the glass and to rinse on the glass. Now, my problem with rinse bars is that I prefer to take them off the glass for still to get a good rinse. And this is due to that, maybe not so much with hybrid or nylon, I should say that, but with boar hair, when you get the splay, I've seen it so many times. And the only reason I saw this was because how many times I put a GoPro on the pole and watched it happen was that even with good pressure, and I know you can lift up the rinse bar and put it super high, but I also don't want it like this far up above, smashing the frames and everything. So I want it just level and nice with the bristles. But when that splay goes, the water just goes straight through the splays. So boar hair is going to be dirtier than most. It traps more dirt than any other brush. So I'm literally just putting a bunch of just dirty water just all over the glass. Once I remove that, and then also one thing I do, which this is probably the biggest toss up. You tell me if we've never talked about this, is, oh no, you do this. I've always cleaned the frames and I do something called conditioning. I always think of basically with a home of conditioning the frames the first couple of times you're ever there. You have to still do it when you do the job thereafter, but especially residential. If I have a whole side, a bunch of second story windows, I go through, I hit all the frames. I just go over the frame like once like that. I rinse it all down. I'll do that to like 5 sets of windows. I'll go back. I'll hit the glass really good, rinse that really good. Never an error, never anything that I ever have to go back and check or even look at. But some people really like to just do it all in one step. You know, do frames, then do glass. But I love that drip dry because it gets that dirt off there, so I don't have that dirty run when I get back. And that was just from so many years of trial and error of what I saw happen.
Yeah, I do like 2-3 windows at a time, but I'll do frames every single window every single time.
Yeah.
Like everybody's like, well, you don't have to do. I know I don't have to, but we do. That's why I like the pad holder stuff. I think that like more for maintenance, kind of the like frameless type things where you get into something with the bristles, then you have at least to be able to really dial in those frames. And then, like you said, people are like, well, I don't trust water fed. And your pole is too floppy. You can't get a good scrub. You're not using a boar's hair brush. You're probably not having a walnut attachment of some sort. And you probably are not doing the frames right or rinsing. Like once all of those things, like you said, you do it the exact same way every single time, you never get a call back. It just, it's always perfect. And then you don't have these internet trolls out there telling you that it doesn't work. And then these new people who are like, oh, I read it doesn't work. Those are dumb people who don't understand how it works. That's what it is.
But there is so many people that are newer that honestly, I think this is the first year ever where so many people are just doing water fed and just getting that and making their businesses that. Like we talked about last time, but it wasn't a very good title of, has water fed become its own like service?
Yeah.
Like could water fed not be window cleaning, but
yeah, man, I like going back. So the UK, that's what they do, right? It's all water fed. It's all boom, boom, boom. Thank you. Go on to the next one. I don't want to sound like the old guy who goes, you need to have the, but I do feel like it doesn't mean that you're not a window cleaner if you're just water fed. Great. It just means you're a little limited, right? I don't want to be limited. So I want to know how to water. I want to know how to water fed. I want to know how to traditional. I want to know how to use razors and everything. Like I want to know all of that. And I want every one of my employees to know all that, because I feel like as a well-rounded person, if this is the thing I do, like if I'm the pro, I want to know it all. That's my feelings. Not that anything's wrong, just my feelings.
Yeah. Well, I think it's more of like this, more than ever too. How many of you are scared to go inside of a home or just don't want to go inside of a home? That comes up a lot. Is I don't, this guy is.
I did, well, 72% of all jobs were always inside and outside. But man, would it be nice if you just never went in a house though? Yeah. I kind of envy pressure washers just for that fact. Where you're like, oh yeah, hey Mrs. Jones, like cool, I'll send you the invoice, and then you just leave.
And that's what a lot of pressure washers talk about too when they add on window cleaning as a service. Like, no, I'm not going inside. I just need to take care of the outsides. I need to take care of the little spots that happen after a soft wash. I'm not going to do that. Yeah, I love going inside of a home. It's like, middle of summer, air conditioning, stand over that vent while you're cleaning the window. It's great. It makes your day. Yeah. It's just so nice. Go to the basement where it's all cold.
See, I don't like the in and out of the cold. I'd rather just be hot all day than be cold and hot. That's from my plowing days of like, every time you get out of the truck into negative 20 degree and get back into like 80 degrees and back out, it's like, that's what makes me feel worse.
It does stink when you're in the winter doing route work, and every single job that you go into, you're just in there for like 10 minutes and I always used to leave my hoodie on because I didn't want to take off, and I would just be sweating. I have my like beanie on the top of my head, just like looking all weird, just disheveled and gross.
First job I ever did was a machine shop, and it was the coldest day of the year. And it happened, I already planned this. It was like a big thing for me. It was my first job, so I didn't reschedule. It was so cold. Machine shops are like 100 degrees. Like everybody's in like shorts and like sleeveless. I mean, machines are running. It's so hot. And I would just go in and out checking windows and getting it right. It took me 3 hours, dude. It was the worst thing where you're like, you almost like your chest feels stuffy because you're like this so humid feeling in my coat right now.
Yep.
Man.
Yeah. Oh man, interior is so much easier to clean. Katie, window cleaning. I agree, man. Interiors are just so easy. I don't know why you wouldn't want to do them.
They're easy,
Oh.
but you just like don't have to move a couch, and I don't have to like mess with their dogs or their little tchotchkes, their little ceramic cat portrait things that are on the windows, and like the stuff stuck to the windows, and then they're you move a couch and you're like, don't touch the couch. That was my great great grandma's, and it's worth $3 million. And it's like,
Last question of the day. Would you bring ladders inside of a home or not bring ladders inside of a home? Now, I'm not talking about a step ladder. Everyone brings a step ladder. Would you bring a 16-foot or over extension ladder inside?
or stacks.
Well, stacks kind of.
I have brought extension ladders into building houses before I started using stacks. Yes.
Really? Yeah.
Yep.
Now, would you
It
have a
is
rule
so loud with
nowadays,
two
though?
people? Yes, I would. It's always stacks. We had a ladder. Our like procedure was anytime a ladder, because we ran 24-foot ladders or 32s. And a 24 got into a house. The rule was there was always two people, one person on the front, one person on the back, always. And that was so that it didn't hit walls or you didn't pivot and the thing swing around. Like that was just our rule. We'd set it up two people, one person would foot the ladder, one person would do the job, two people would grab the ladder and walk it back out. Stack ladders, you don't need any of that.
Wow, that is a rule. That's crazy. I think I've brought a 20-foot or 28-foot extension ladder in over 1,000 or 2,000 homes.
Yeah.
Like probably around like the 2,000 mark.
Yeah.
Every home I've ever done from the beginning. I used to bring in like the 28-foot gorillas and unfold them up. Oh, I hated those. Those are the worst. But I just know a lot of people who will not bring extension ladders or really any ladders into homes. I just couldn't imagine doing it like that.
I don't ever want to pull a window because you know what it is? Those big giant foyer windows or the atrium windows or whatever, like those are the ones that they're going to be like, they look at those because they're like, these haven't been cleaned. And if there's anything up there, you're trying to like detail with a pole and a huck towel. Like I'd rather get up there, just nose to glass to get that. I mean, especially on the insides. But here's why. I'll tell you a quick story. You know how there's a little like teeth on the feet of an extension ladder, like a Werner. So we had brought it in. It wasn't me. It was actually one of my guys. I wasn't even on the job. And he brought it in over his shoulders before the rule. And as he turned to like, try to like close the door back so the cat didn't get out, those like teeth ran the wall and it like shredded the wall. And it was like probably a 6, like it was one of those marks where you could see where it hit. And then he was like, oh, and like tried to pull it off and it just ripped more. And the lady was like, oh, that's cool. We're looking at painters and they'll just patch it. I was like, oh, all right. Yes. I thought in my head after I heard about it, I was like, oh, we're going to like pay drywallers to come fix it and then paint the whole room because now it doesn't match. Like she was like, no, this is like literally we're having to come in like 2 weeks. It's like, oh, sweet. Okay.
Lucky you.
Yeah.
Man. Yeah.
Lucky employee. That's what I should say.
Yeah. We, funny thing about, this is totally random, but about scratch glass is I wish I could show it here, but in our home we moved into, the window cleaners who ever cleaned, and it's really funny because my area is very small. So there's only a certain amount of window cleaners or a certain group of window cleaners who could have
cleaned who they are.
Or
who they could
be. So if you're watching this, so they freaking torched one of my windows, man. And like, not that they did it. And I said to the builder, I said, I know it's not them. Like, I know what it is. I really wonder if I can get this to show. It is
I forget you're in a new house. Like, you don't even have ghosts in that house yet.
Dude.
Oh, dang.
That's
jeez.
Perfect. That is the scratches on the outside of a window. And that is from fabrication debris of someone grabbing the scraper. You can see the stamped temper tag right there. And that was just the side that they probably shouldn't have done. But like, I was just like, I was shocked. Like when I saw it, because one of the things that I asked when I don't know what's called my camera, when I got this house was, can I please I just know like you guys are going to scratch these windows and it's not your fault. I just know it's going to happen. Can I just do that part of it? Oh no, like it's all good. We won't do it. And then 2 weeks later, I was like, hey, we had to do it to pass code. Cool, whatever. I can't control that. But then to see that, I was like, man, I got to show. And that's funny. That really showed up well, but yeah.
You know what? You can now do a bunch of videos on scratch things. Like try like the pastes and the whatevers and try a bunch of things.
I'm getting those replaced, man. That's what's happening.
Are they doing that? The builders doing that?
Yeah. It's under 1 month, why not? I mean, every time I'm going to go to that window, I'm going to see that. And then like on one of our bathroom windows, when you pull up the pane, you can run your finger outside and go into the grooves of like, I've actually never seen it this bad.
Isn't it shocking though? Like some of the houses where you're like, this is like builders. Like I had some friends buy a house and it was like they literally had a field to here's your keys. It was 3 months. Like they didn't even break ground. It was like that quick. And it's like, oh, I'm pretty sure you're going to have some problems with some things. Like it's built so fast nowadays.
Yep. Oh yeah. They throw them up super, super quick. The craftsmanship is not as good, but got to be happy. So,
yep. Yeah.
Anyways, that is the end of episode 41. We'll be back for episode 42, I believe, in 2 weeks. This guy is going out on a little vacation, so we'll see what happens, huh?
We'll see if the boat doesn't sink. I'll be back.
If you guys don't hear from Josh again or Jersey, we'll say our goodbyes. Okay.
Hey, that's all right. Steve.
That was really
if you call me in like a week and a half and you get SteveO, it's because I died. And SteveO's really getting all my calls. It's like, yeah, it's terrible, right? What can I get ordered for you?
Do you have anything to share, sir? Of anything that you do in your off time?
Yes. If you can. First off, do remember that SteveO's YouTube channel is only here so he can get subscribers, so that he can get to more people and get more content. So definitely subscribe. A lot of you are not subscribed. It takes 2 seconds to click the button, so subscribe to his YouTube channel. Also, of course, the podcast is brought to you by windowcleaner.com, window cleaning resource. So please do let Steve or I put in your orders, because that's what we do and how we get paid. And go out and get a subscription to the American Window Cleaner magazine, because you're nerds. You're here watching a podcast right now. Go get a subscription to the magazine. It costs you $69. Get it, and you can be nerds like the rest of us. And Steve's in there a lot, so if you want pictures of Steve, you get them.
They're all my old photos. There's nothing new. This is all years ago.
I was back. Oh, Fish Lens Steve. Remember him?
Yep.
Everything was Fish Lens and trendy, and now he's just an office junkie. Just a cubicle monkey there.
That's what happens with life. It just, what can you do? But anyways, thank you all for being here. If y'all need anything, you guys know where to reach us at, and we will see you all in 2 weeks.
By the way, one last thing. Remember elevator. Anywhere you're posting anything about the show, make sure to mention SteveO's elevator.
Please don't.